The Power Moms Network, empowering moms to lift the world.
Welcome. I'm Riley Karsh.
I'm Tova Kopan.
We are thrilled to bring you the We Go Boldly podcast.
Let's talk big burning questions, life changes, and maybe a bit of personal business.
Let's be bold and brave together. Are you ready?
I am. Here comes the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Go Boldly, the podcast. We are thrilled to be a part of the Power Moms Network. At Power Moms Network, we are empowering moms and creating a community of mothers mentoring other moms to greatness. It is a fantastic network to be a part of, and we really love it there. So check it out anytime you have a chance. You can find them online at powermomsnetwork.com. Like I said, we love them, and we're thrilled to be a part of that group. That being said, it is interview day, and it is the last episode of our season 10 mega season. How to do all the things. That's a lie. We barely touched the surface. There are so many more how-tos. You never know. We might actually do a whole other season of how-tos because frankly, we just didn't get to everything we meant to. And we've had some requests that I think are interesting, or like thoughts from other interviews that we've done that, maybe we need to follow up on. So you never know. We might get there. Right now, we are going to have our final interview of the season and sort of wrap the season up in and move into another like mini season, like we like to do transitions. And in our mini season, we're going to be talking all about words and what they mean for us, how they impact us, and really, like, depending on the word, I think almost all of them lead to how do we get more joy in our lives. So that's coming up, but all of that is not relevant to today. Today is interview day, as I said. Before we dive into our topic of the day, which I am like, I need again. It's like, why not? It's our podcast. We might as well ask our own questions. And but before I get into all that, let me say hello to Tova, see what's happening with her today, and get her on the show. How are you, Tova?
I'm good. I'm excited. So I always get excited. We are trying really hard because of vacations coming up and surgeries and life to like pre-record. This is, I think, the first time I've ever pre-recorded where I'm one age when we're recording, and then I'm going to be a different age when people are listening.
That's right. I didn't even think about that.
So this is like, I don't know why, but I'm like excited about that. It's just because we're doing it around my birthday, not because it's like we're recording so far in advance. But anyway, yeah, it's summertime. I'm really excited for this interview. I'm ready to say goodbye to this season because it's just been a really long season, and I'm really excited for our next mini season. I am very scared of our following season, mainly because I know that like the universe, as soon as we really settled in on it and we're like, okay, we have to end the how-to season and move on. Yeah. That's when the universe started sending us like all these signs. And when I say signs, I mean memes and like reels.
But also like other signs too. I mean, signs. Like things have happened.
Things in books. And things happening.
Conversations we've had with other random people not involved in the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, it's time for this season. And when we start getting those kinds of signs, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a doozy. So I'm really excited for that season. I'm very nervous. Like my hands are starting to sweat just thinking about it. So 100%. I'm excited for this interview, and I'm excited to say goodbye to this season. I'm excited for our summer of celebration to continue with our words that find us joy on our search for joy. So I'm just like, excited.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, and just before we introduce, and I will do that in like a minute or less, before we introduce our guest, I just want to remind everyone we are doing our book club this summer. So if you haven't joined yet, it's not too late. Join in. You can find out more about it on our website or on our social media. It is meant to be fun. It is not a hard, heavy lift. It's a fun experience, and we are going to be live on Instagram, or we already are live on Instagram on Fridays talking about the books that we're reading. And so join us, check it out, see if it makes sense for you. We would love to have you participate. So
yeah, we have two books. We have, just real fast, we have two books left. So like if you've missed the first two, you can still read them. You can go back on Instagram and like watch our lives because they're still there somehow, because that's how Instagram works. And then we have two more. We have Green Light. Is that the word?
Yes, Green Lights.
Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. And then the When Women Were Dragons, which I'm excited to read.
I'm super excited to read. I read like
maybe
the first
chapter. Maybe I have by the time we're listening to this. Who knows? But we don't need it. We're not doing it until the very end of August. So I probably haven't, frankly. So I'm excited for both those books. We tried to pick books that would both, or all four books are books that the goal was that are like short, like good summer reading books that you could like pick up for a weekend or a long car ride. Not that you're driving, that you're listening. And then that, but there would also be thought-provoking, like fun, thought-provoking short books. Those were our goals of the book club.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we've succeeded.
I think so too. All right. Well, without further ado, today on our final how-to, we are talking about jobs. We're talking about careers. We're talking about transitions and pivots and kind of how to all of that can happen in your life. It is, of course, an integral part of living that limitless life that we talk about, ad nauseum, because if you are severely unhappy in your career, or if you don't know what direction to go in, if you're not sure how to get there, all of that can limit your joy, right? Like, because that's stressful stuff. So that can limit your joy. So we want to talk today about how to kind of do all those things, how to manage those things. So without further ado, let me introduce to all of you our dear friend who we've worked with ourselves, Gigi Stephenson. She is a friend of the show, and she is a powerhouse in the Triangle business community with over 13 years of experience in human resources, recruiting, technical writing, and program management. She founded Silver Key Career Solutions in 2016, revolutionizing career services in Raleigh by equipping job seekers with crucial skills to land their dream jobs. Gigi's deep understanding of both the interview process and recruiter needs has enabled her to help countless individuals succeed in their careers. In addition to Silver Key, she co-founded Networking Women of the Triangle, a thriving organization with over 54,000 members that hosts career fairs and networking events. Gigi's passion for supporting women in business and her expertise in HR and recruiting have made a significant impact on the community. Oh, excuse me. Originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina, Gigi holds a BS in sociology from UNC Pembroke and an AAS in business administration from Fayetteville Technical Community College. She is a member of the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coaches. And I think really, she is dedicated to inspiring future generations with diverse career path options. So, Gigi, all of that is to say, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are thrilled to have you. We have both worked with your company, Silver Key, in various capacities. And we're just like, really, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Tova, but I know this is the case. I'm super impressed with everything you've done and the way you run your business and how it all goes. I really appreciate you and what you're doing. And I'm happy that you're here to talk to us today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, of course, and honored. So hopefully, we can talk through some good tips. Things have definitely changed here lately.
Yes, definitely. Tova, do you want to kick us off, or you?
Yeah, well, so we always like to dive in with, I don't know, difficult questions, frankly. We think it's more fun that way. So I know. It's like, why make it easy? But we would love to know, this whole season has been about how-tos, and obviously we invited people on because you have an expertise in a how-to that we don't have. And frankly, there's things that we can read articles on and we can do research on, but we would love to know your expertise. But before we get into that, we would love to know, what is a how-to that you wish that you had a better understanding of to help you live your most limitless life?
I am currently, digging into the how-tos of balance, freely. And I know that's a little vague, but in any way that you can imagine that, right? Being a businesswoman, being a mother, even being a friend, being a partner, like that's my biggest thing right now is trying to find the balance between all of those things and feel like you're doing a good enough job in all those areas.
Yeah, I think so many people have that same question, right? Like, how do you, I don't know, we've been told repeatedly since we were kids, like, you can do it all, but like, really, I mean, one, I don't want to do it all. And two, like, that's too much, right? Like, this, you can't do it all the time. So Tova and I talk a lot about, instead of balance, we talk about harmony and how do we harmonize our lives so that, like, we're
good.
never going to give 150% to every single aspect of our lives because we'll burn out and fall apart. Right. So like some days your kids get 100%, some days your job gets 100%, right? Like it's, you figure out how to create something that sounds and feels harmonious in your life so that it all works. That sounds lovely. Of course, it's very hard to do. Like I'm not saying it like I'm some expert and I'm doing it all the time because I'm most assuredly not.
Well, it's funny. So Riley and I could basically just like run with your whole statement and be like, all right, we're going to put a 45-minute webinar together right now about balance and harmony.
I think we have one actually.
Because we do. We're like ready to go because we have such strong feelings about it, and we're not going to do it. But I always have to say, like, this whole concept of balance, once we start talking about it, I always picture someone on a balance beam trying to carry plates. And I always wasn't be like, why are we trying to balance? There's no way to do it well. You're the whole time you're just gonna like the whole time you're just trying to juggle things and not fall off the balance beam. And so not that you should stop trying to find the harmony in your life, but like I think I've gone so far down the like rabbit hole of our metaphor that the word balance has me panicked now.
Yeah, it's like a triggering word for us now.
Well, I like harmony though. I think that's a better word, and so maybe I'll use that. And I think one of the biggest things, and I don't know who said it along the way, but was being able to identify the glass balls that you're juggling and the plastic ones, right? Like, what can just wait? Like, what can just be like, set this aside right now. Let's focus on the glass, right? So I try to keep that in mind. But, like most things, I don't think there's a formula or a exact science to it. Yeah. And, the fact that we care about that harmony, right, is, it's good.
I think that's we were just talking about that the other day, and I don't remember what context, but it was like with our kids, it was talking about our kids, and it's just like, I mean, obviously we're messing them up in ways that we don't even know, but like we haven't figured it out yet, but like we care, we're trying not to, right? Like, and that ball comment, like I know once, like I was late to something or I forgot something, and my son was like, well, did we miss it? And I was like, have we ever missed things? I'm like, we've almost dropped balls, but like we've never let them break. Like they don't fall on the ground. Like we catch them, we're good. The balls get caught.
Yeah.
Right? So we're excited to talk about what it is that you do now, but I would love to know how you got here. So that what were you doing before 2016 that led you to, opening up your own company and deciding that this was the path for you?
Oh, I love this. And I'm going to be as brief as possible because it's just funny. So before this, my entire professional background really is in government contracts, right? So I call that my first big girl career, right? My, really getting my feet wet in corporate America and all that good stuff. And I love it. And I actually do have a small government contracting company now. That's a whole nother story, but that is my background. A lot of people don't know that. But within government contracting, I was in HR, and it was a small startup, right? So if you know anything about startups, you're wearing all the hats, right? Nobody is like, this isn't my job. Everybody's doing whatever they need to do. Today you're finance. Today you're a recruiter. Today, so honestly, I came in for finance, came in under HR, quickly started dabbling into the actual contract side of things, which required recruiting, which required writing proposals, which required editing these resumes for I mean, and so I kind of fell into this skill set that I, didn't look for. And in 2016, I was a single mom and had just moved to Cary, North Carolina. And was just like, man, I need to make some extra money, like I need some cash. And of course, one of the things that we ask ourselves, what am I good at, right? What could I do that people would actually pay me to do? And so I was just pretty much like doing technical writing, right, in my job at that point. A lot of resumes, a lot of like interview prep, a lot of interviewing. So I was like, yeah, I think there's a need for like resumes now, because this was also kind of when, now applicant tracking systems have been around for a long time, right? This wasn't new, but I don't think people were really aware that that's what was happening when they upload their resume. It was going into a workflow, right, into a system. And keywords were all the things, and keyword optimization, we hear that all the time now. And because I was on the other side of that table, right, I'm the one now getting the applications, and I'm seeing our ATS and how it functions. And I just thought, man, people don't know this side of it, most people anyways, right? So I thought, well, I could write resumes. I could do that for sure. And you know what, if I can make a few $100 a month, like that would be great. So I kind of just, out of like mom groups and just, kind of just started putting out there, like offering, to help people even for free, just trying to help the community. And if I could make some money, great. So I did that. I helped, a handful of people. And this is a testament to networking too. So there's a little thing in here, right? I was at home, like in my bedroom, probably in my robe in my bed, just relaxing. And I got a message from someone on Facebook, and they were like, hey, I heard you write resumes. Can you send me your, service file and your business information? And I'm just like, I don't have a business, like, are you serious? Like, there's no business here. I'm just like doing this. I didn't say that, but I think that was kind of like my light bulb moment of like, is this a business? Is this turning into something here? So I did tell a lie. And I said, I'm not at home right now, but when I get home, I will send you my service file. And then I immediately started working on my service file, that didn't exist. And I built it. And I think I went on like GoDaddy or something. And just, I was thinking object color. Let me find, like, I just need a quick, like, business name. And there is no beautiful story behind Silver Key. It was literally just one of the things I punched in, and it was available. And so I was like, we're rolling with it. I literally like threw this business together in like an hour. And so, yeah, it was not intentional. I didn't set out to like really make this a thing. But it turned into one. So that's what happened.
I love it. So is entrepreneurial like experience something that comes from your life, or did you just sort of fall like, were you just like, I need this, I'm going to do it? Or did you grow up in an environment where that was sort of like embraced and treated as as something that you should aspire to? Or like, where is not everyone starts their own business, is I guess my point. Like it's scary and overwhelming. Like, is that something that was highlighted for you throughout your life, or is it just something you came to on your own?
Not really. And growing up for me personally, I mean, my parents were working class, pretty humble beginnings. And then later on life, once you're grown up, they're all making good money and stuff. But they worked in manufacturing, and they were up early. And I definitely think I got my like work ethic from them, like seeing them grind every day. And I was what are they, a latchkey kid, right? I got myself through school, I got myself home from school. And they were great. From look, you work hard, you dedicate yourself, but it still was very much the old school, what I consider like the old school of thought of like, you commit yourself to a company and you just stay loyal and things are going to be great and they're going to take care of you. And like the reality is, and we know this now, is that's not true. That's not really true anymore. It might be true to some degree in some industries, but things don't really work like they used to. You don't, not every, organization is like you're vested and they're, you have a pension and like, it just doesn't work like that. And, neither of my parents had completed a, college education. And so they did kind of, encourage that, of course, like you should go to college. And I am of the, thought that if what you want to do requires college, of course, right? Like that's the path you have to go, right, to get to the other side of your goal. But it was never said to me, you can be a business owner, you can be an entrepreneur, you can work a trade. Even trades weren't even really pushed, right? So it was just kind of like, it was always like boots or books, right? That's kind of like what my generation always heard. Like you join the military, you go to college, and if not, you're stupid and you're never going to make any good money. And like those things are just not true. And I understand they're generational, it's kind of what they were told. And so it just, but the biggest thing with my children that I've tried to, my oldest, my 14-year-old is, look, if you want to go to college, 100% support it. Like if that's what you need to get to your goals, like let's do it. I got your back. But if you don't, that's fine. Like college really isn't for everybody and it doesn't have to be the path. I have 2 degrees. And to be honest with you, the only reason why I got those 2 degrees was because I was told to, I enjoyed most of it. And, I don't think it was like all for naught, but do I think that they are the reason why, I have, a business now or, can I like say that that's why I feel, you know what I mean? Like further along in my career or like, no, not really. I have a lot of student debt now and that's not fun. So if I could go back and do it, I think I would take a different path. And the entrepreneurship really just, again, was happenstance, like with Silver Key and the story. It wasn't anything, honestly, that I set out to do, which is interesting. I think the universe just conspires sometimes for us. And once I kind of got that taste of it, I was like, man, this is rad. Like, this is what I want to do. I've built other businesses since then and continue to like keep my eye out for the next thing that I might want to get my hands on. I just recently launched a new company. So, I mean, I think I love it. It's for me, it's not for everyone. And that said, for those who are wanting to, start their own businesses, I just want to make note that it wasn't until 2019, so 3 and some change years later, that I actually made the decision to quit my, corporate job and kind of fly solo.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. We need to take a quick break. So why don't we do that? And when we come back, let's get into like the nitty-gritty of job transitions, careers, like what do people need to think about? But before we do that, let's take a quick break and we will be back in a minute, everyone. Well, hello there, ladies. Are you ready to elevate your life and connect with like-minded souls? Join us every week at the Go Boldly Together weekly Women's Circle, where strength meets sisterhood. Dive into empowering discussions, share your victories, and navigate challenges together. Our circle is a safe space for growth and inspiration. Experience the power of collective wisdom and unleash your full potential. Don't miss out on the transformative energy. Click the link in our show notes or visit us at goboldlyinitiative.com/women's weekly group to learn more about our Go Boldly Circle today. Together, let's embrace the journey of personal development and let's celebrate that unstoppable force within each of us. Okay, so welcome back to the show. Before the break, I was saying we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it all now. And I guess, Gigi, let's just start talking in terms of like, what are you, what is the advice you give to somebody who first comes to you and is like maybe a little lost or is like, I need to make money. I don't know what to do. Where am I going? Like, what am I doing? Or do you have people come to you that say that? I am assuming you do, but
Oh
maybe
yeah.
I'm wrong. Yeah, I would. I mean, I might. So
Yeah.
like, it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's a whole spectrum of where people are in their, journey. Um, so my advice to someone who's kind of like, look, I want to jump back in. Maybe they've been out for a while, or maybe they want a career transition and they don't quite know where they want to go next. It's first of all, it's important to know that. Okay, you don't have to have it down to like the exact company you want to work for and the exact role in that company, I always kind of explain it like if we're getting in the car, right, and we're gonna go on a road trip, and I'm like, okay, where are we going? I gotta punch it in the GPS, and you're like, I don't know, just drive. I mean, okay, cool. We might experience some cool things along the way, but it's much better, right, if we know where we're going. We can plan better. We can, so just even if you're like, I don't know where I want to go, but let's just go south, right? Like, let's just go in that direction. Even that is more helpful, right? So I just have them, I always say, like, quiet time, try to find some quiet time with yourself, pen and paper, or, type it up, whichever is more comfortable for you, and really have an honest conversation with yourself. Looking back at your professional experience, what were you good at? Okay, start there. Now, sometimes we're good at things that we don't really enjoy. So there's that. Now, what did you really enjoy, right? Because most roles are like not just, okay, this is what you do every day, A to B, A to B, A to B, there's some variety, there's different functions. And maybe there was like a marketing piece, or maybe there was something, a part of it that was more creative and you really like that creative piece. Maybe it was client facing. And if you're being honest with yourself, you didn't really like that, right? You'd rather be more like back of the house, right? More like behind the scenes. And so really just getting your thoughts out of, okay, looking back at what I've done, what am I good at? And other things I'm good at, what did I really enjoy? Or maybe what did I kind of dabble in that I really enjoyed and I didn't have an opportunity to like really dive into that, right? Or push those skills any further or find any kind of professional development there. That helps, right? So that can help. Now, everybody has a different sense of urgency, right? If you just like, look, I need a paycheck. And then you've got some people who are like, I've got time to think about this. And so that time is obviously a luxury. But I always tell them, like, if you're going to have to look for something, you might as well look for something that you might like, right? So lean into your strengths, lean into the things that you did enjoy. I think people get caught up on titles so much and they're so arbitrary, right? They're so like, I mean, they don't really mean anything at the end of the day. They certainly don't like fully define, what we do under these titles, working titles, official titles, whatever. So, leaning into those things is like the first step, I think, of, okay, let's start here. Because if I have to get a job, I mean, it might as well be something that I have some interest in, or I know that I was really good at, or so finding something, because there's no formula for writing a resume, right? If there was, I'd be rich, where every resume writer would be like, oh, plug and play. That's just not how it works, right? Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different career journey. So how we narrate the narrative is important, right? And so with a resume, it's explaining to the reader how we got from point A to where we want to be at point B, right? Essentially. And so that's where like the translation of skills comes in, and making sure that um we see this a lot with military, right? If you've been in military and you're transitioning out of the military and you're not going to be as, work in the civilian world, how do we make that make sense, right? Because the average civilian doesn't know all this military verbiage and jargon, and so that's how it works. And so to tell the story, your story, we have to know where we're going to connect the dots, if you will.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Tova, were you about to ask a question?
Well, I was just going to ask, like, so what are some things that you want to caution people against doing? Like, if people come to you maybe halfway into their process and you're like, oh gosh, I wish you would have come to me first before you did that. Like, what are some things that you would, whether it's something on somebody's LinkedIn profile or some missteps they made just along the way, so that you're wish somebody would have come to you first. What are some things, as maybe somebody is, whether it's, ended up in a job that they just really hated, or just something that they kind of like I said, put on their LinkedIn profile that like you wish they didn't put out into the universe.
I really don't think there's anything that's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. You know what I mean? That people can do. But it is always extremely like heart-wrenching because these people, most of them are kind of in some kind of an emotional thing, right? Whether it be there is a career transition and I'm scared, I don't know what's next, or I just got laid off and I don't know what I'm going to do, or, whatever the case may be. I mean, I think trying to tackle things alone is difficult. And it's like, if you aren't professionally trained to like cut your hair, you probably shouldn't. It doesn't mean that you can't, you might do an okay job, you know what I mean? If you aren't professionally trained to like, work on your car, I mean, you might be able to figure it out a little bit, but you also might mess something up. And so, I think that people try to go it alone, and I'm not trying to say like hire a professional, but I think even just opening the conversation to other people who are, there's lots of career Facebook groups now, right, that are there for kind of community, and we're all kind of going through this together. And I found this tip. And so, you're not alone. There is certainly something very interesting going on in the landscape of jobs, right now, and has been, quite honestly. I mean, it's changed so much over the years. So it's not just like right now, but there's always something happening. So I don't think there's like you shouldn't have done that. I think it's more just find some community. If you can hire a professional, obviously that would be great. There's lots of free resources out there too as well, so it can be overwhelming and people freeze and then they don't do it. And, so having that, I can't tell you how many times I'll email someone and be like, hi, are you ready? We haven't heard anything. And they're like, I needed the push, like I need to just do this. And so, sometimes just kind of having that like cheerleader on the side, but like, look, I know that this is not fun, but let's do it. We'll do it together, and we'll, get you to the other side.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Tova.
No, you can go.
Well, I was going to ask, like, that fear of rejection that I think we all have, right? And that like fear of it not working out, or like it just being harder than we anticipated, or any of those things, those roadblocks, right, that get in the way of us taking the first step. I feel like hiring a professional is like I don't want to say the easiest way, but like one of the best ways to get over that initial hurdle.
Yeah.
And when somebody comes to you, and like I would be in this category of like, I don't even know what to do. I haven't like applied for a job in 15 years. I don't know. I've worked for myself for so long. Like, what does it even look like right now? So what do you, I understand like the first step is probably like, well, what do you want to do? Right. Like that conversation we talked about. But like, once you get through that, what is the next step for people? Like, where are they, like, where are you taking them after that?
Well, the deliverables are important, right? The resume is important. I mean, it's the thing that you're sending. It's the first thing typically that someone is seeing, right? When you apply for a role, they don't know you probably. They can look you up on LinkedIn, or, but this is the document. This is the thing that is either going to give you a second look or not. So I think focusing on those deliverables is the next step, right? So the LinkedIn is very important. It's a global applicant pool at the end of the day, right? And so recruiters like myself, you know, it's where we're going first. You know what I mean? It's like I'm looking for this specific person with these specific skills and that, you know, so in this specific area. And so like there is really no better place for that. That's what LinkedIn is for. So, you know, just having a presence on LinkedIn, you know, getting that resume ready. And I think the biggest secret, it's not really a secret, but people, and I think they're starting to get it because it's being talked about a lot, but you know, your resume's never done. It's never like, all right, it's done. We're good. Fire that thing off. You know, I mean, like you get it to what I call like a really good baseline, right? Like this is strong. It feels good. I feel like it really represents me. You know, it's covering all the things and, you know, I feel good about this. But the resume is never like complete. You find a role, right, that is of interest and you read it and you see what they're asking for. What are they talking about? What is clearly important to this organization? What are some skills that they have highlighted? Because we can't possibly, everything doesn't make it to the resume. You know what I mean? Like every single thing that we've ever done. And like, you know, so sometimes when you're reading something and you're like, oh, I've done that. Why is that? That's not even on my resume. I need to put that on my resume. You know, so like being mindful of the requisitions that you're applying for. What are they asking for? And I use this kind of like silly rudimentary example of just like if you're reading a job requisition and they say we're looking for someone who knows their ABCs, we're looking for someone who likes the color blue, we're looking for someone who can jump up and down, then you need to be looking at your resume saying, okay, do I talk about the ABCs? Do I talk about the color blue? Do I talk about jumping up and down? You know what I mean? And so if not, that top of what we have now, you know, in resumes, the objectives are a little, you know, outdated, if you will, but the professional summaries is I tell people this is a really good place for manipulation, right? In the literal term of like moving things around and editing. And so then you would go into that professional summary. And if these things apply to you, you would talk about how long you've known your ABCs and how much you love to jump up and down and how much you love the color blue and your car is blue and, you know, whatever. So like really just taking a good look at it. What is it asking for and checking those boxes? Because as a recruiter, you have to remember, and now that I've, you know, been sitting in the recruiter seat for a long time, that's how our brain works, right? They need a degree. They need this certificate. They need X amount of years. They need experience in this. And so it's just really us checking the blocks in our brain. So once we see those things, we're already like, okay, I'm doing my job, right? Like I found someone who meets these 4 things. I'm doing my job. This person can move on or whatever. So it's not so much about the minutia of like what you do every day. It's more or less being very clear that you're communicating to the person reading it and the system reading it that, you know, you are meeting those requirements. And so having a strong baseline resume is important. Editing it for the role that you're applying for is even more important. And in terms of LinkedIn, I always tell I'm very like, you know, transparent with people who want a LinkedIn. Oh, I don't have a LinkedIn. I know I should probably have one. I'm like, okay, listen, yes, you need a LinkedIn. I'm glad that you know that. Here's the thing. LinkedIn is not a thing that you set it and forget it. You can't create your profile and then walk away and never go back to it. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be effective. It works just like anything else on the interwebs. You know, it's about optimization, it's about activity, it's about not being like, you know, static. You know, it's about, even if you go in every day and just like a post, right? You don't have to get on there and write blogs and, you know, liking a post, adding some connections. Like it needs some activity from time to time, because when you have activity on it, you're telling LinkedIn, I'm here, I'm participating, I'm important, you know what I mean? And so the chances of you being in that search for someone who might be looking for you is greater. And also the more connections you have, you'll see right on how it works, right? The connection degrees, if you will, a first degree connection, a second degree, right? So the wider your connections, the higher your chance of popping into someone looking for you. Oh, he or she is a third, connection of someone that I know, whatever that I'm connected on. So, it's a lot. I think it's just a little bit more complex than people think it is. It's not just, all right, got a LinkedIn, cool, all right, done. With these things, you have to tackle it from every angle. A good resume is not enough. A good LinkedIn is not enough. You have to be able to interview well. You have to know how to network. You have to, like, all of these things matter, especially in this kind of, career environment right now.
You've mentioned a couple of times about how different I don't know, not so much the job market, but just jobs in general or the career environment is. I don't know if since like prior to 2016 or maybe even prior to the pandemic, I don't know where the lines are, but what is different since whatever the before was?
Mhm.
What are the big differences that you've noticed?
Well, I mean, I think over time, so, oh gosh, I can't even believe it's been what, 9 years. Anyways, there's been a lot of influencing things, right? Just it could be politics. There was obviously COVID. There's been some big layoffs here recently, especially in like the tech industry and gaming. And, I don't think anybody can point to a thing, right? I think it's just more acknowledging that things do change. Even again, the kind of like awakening for people that applicant tracking systems are a thing, and that your resume actually goes through an ATS. And how does that work? And what data does it aggregate? And what is the other person on the other side seeing when this happens? And you know what I mean? So I think it's been a roller coaster, because there's been a lot of things that have kind of pushed it. And then, there was a time where like employers couldn't find anybody to hire, it seemed like, and so we had the like power, if you will, the people who, the job seekers had the power, because then they could kind of be like, well, I want this and I want that. And so it's interesting to see the shift. It's never, I don't know, I feel like it's never really in a place for that long, and you kind of just have to be, ready, because as you know, especially with, the pandemic and COVID and, like nobody had that on their bingo card, right? So it's like you kind of have to be prepared for anything, whether, the power's in your favor or it's not, or knowing what to do. And most importantly, I think, again, just being ready. So many times, and, like, I get it, right? Nobody's like going home and like, oh, really should update my resume today for no random reason. But so many times, of course, there's a layoff, or there's, oh my God, this job, I got to apply today, and there's a sense of urgency, like, I got to get it together. And it's like, I got to update this, and cool, we can absolutely help. But, you know, sometimes we can't help the same day, or, you know what I mean? So just kind of like staying on top of your deliverables. One thing, like a small tip, if you will, that I tell our clients is kind of having like a central repository document just of all the things, right? As you can kind of think of them, or, everything again doesn't make it on the resume. So kind of having a place of like volunteer work and like maybe milestones in your career, or a new like professional development thing, or, some kind of recognition at work, or, even in just implementing, hey, I found a quicker, better way to do a process, just like things that you're not in the 11th hour, like, trying to apply for a role or something, like trying to scramble, because I know it's a lot of pressure when you're like, great, I've been laid off and now I have to think about, my resume and all that I've done over the past X amount of years. And so, and that's not what you want to think about. I mean, you want to just not be stressed, and, you want to just find the next role and like not have all that worry. And so I think just preparation. I don't know that there's again, like an exact science to it, but, it shifts all the time. So
Yeah.
be ready.
We need to take one more quick break. So why don't we do that? When we come back, I'd love to hear your thoughts on like the landscape of alternative types of jobs, like whether they're part-time, remote, excuse me, job sharing, like what is that looking like currently? Because I know a lot of moms, a lot of women, a lot of people who I know in my sphere, I guess, are looking for that kind of role and how to get there. So let's take this quick break. And when we come back, we can talk more about that. We'll be right back, everyone.
Hey there, Pod family. Have you ever wished you could stay in the loop with a little slice of transformation and inspiration delivered straight to your inbox? Well, you're in luck because now you can. Introducing our fantastic newsletter, your VIP pass to all things exciting and informative. Join our community of growth-minded souls. Get the hottest topics delivered right to your inbox. It's quick, easy, and totally free. Just head over to our website at goboldlyinitiative.com and sign up for our newsletter today. Don't miss out on the next big thing. Stay connected with us. Subscribe now and get ready for some big, bold love.
Okay, welcome back to the show. So before the break, I keep thinking about, and maybe it's selfish because I'm in this category and I'm interested in the answers. But I think a lot of women and moms and people, certainly in my kind of generation, are interested in understanding what the alternative, I'm going to call it the alternative, though I think it should be mainstream, the alternative job market looks like. Like what kinds of jobs are out there that are not MLMs, which no offense to MLMs, they're great. But like that
Big
are
offense to MLMs.
yeah that are that are like part-time, that are remote, that are flexible, that like all those different things we hear about. Like where are those jobs? Like how do you get those? Like talk us through that a little bit.
Well, the good news is there's so many. The bad news is there's so many, right? So wading through the junk, if you will, there's so many scammers. There's just like, oh, I see it all the time. Okay, so this is the answer to your previous question, Tova, of like what I wish they wouldn't have done. I wish you wouldn't have like given this text message or social security number or something crazy, right? For this pretend job that doesn't exist. No, but seriously, I think it's the hardest part is wading through it. Like, don't ever respond to a random text message. Don't ever respond to a, hey, can we take this off platform to WhatsApp? Or, like, listen, I have
also, by the way, good advice in a dating app setting before you meet the person, just as an aside. Like,
okay, so I was dating
apps.
a few years ago, and I can confirm, do not do that also. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I have a job search kit actually that is like this full Excel, and like anybody can have it for free. Just email me or whatever. It's off the shelf built. But it's cool because you can just plug in, like, I applied for this role and here's the link and this is what it was with this company. And it kind of like keeps things organized for you, because especially if you're just like on the grind, right? And you're applying for like 5-10 jobs a day, like you don't remember when someone reaches out and they're like, hi, you applied for a role, and you're like, okay, yeah, like which one, where is it at? Or, like you're searching and trying to remember like where you saw it. And so that can be super helpful. But all that to say, like, don't respond to random text messages or even random emails that are not like, for sure a specific like direct reply. Always, you can call the company and make sure that like it's an actual job listing, you've got the right contact. But the biggest thing is assume it's a scam. Like, just assume it's a scam until you can like 100% verify that it's not. No company is going to require any money from you up front except for an LLM. Nobody is going to, need your personal identifiable information like before, like, So if it feels icky, if it feels wrong, it probably is. Please, please, please do not. Remember, my mom was job searching and she's like, oh my God, someone texted me from Amazon and I'm like, Mom, please just like, please delete that, block it. Don't, no. So anyways, so that's the hard part is there's so much junk to wade through. The good news is that there are a lot of opportunities, right? Especially since like again, talking about one of the things that just like changed the landscape, right? COVID. And so people were looking for opportunities where, you know, they could work from home, or maybe their spouse was laid off. So they are looking for something, you know, part-time to help supplement, you know, whatever the case may be. There's lots of like gig work out there, right? What we call it. Like, you know, you can get on like Upwork, and there's, you know, if you're a maker, you can like sell stuff on Etsy. I mean, there's so many things. I don't have a like go to this place.com for you, but you know, do what I did, you know, and it's like if you want to earn some money, then you just ask yourself like, okay, what would someone pay me to do? Or, you know, I always say everybody needs to be a subject matter expert of something, right? Like if I pull you up in front of a room and I'm like, all right, you got 1 minute to talk about something and like school us on it, right? And like tell us all the things. Everybody should have a thing. I don't care if it's like, I know how to make the best pancakes. I don't care if it's like, I know how to keep, you know, an orchid alive the longest, or, you know, it doesn't matter what the talent or knowledge or anything is, like be a subject matter expert in something. There are always ways to make money on things that you know, because there's someone that doesn't know that. And in a lot of cases, they're willing to pay for that information because you're saving them time. You know, you're solving a problem for them. So even if you think it's silly or like nobody would pay for that, I'm joking about the orchid thing, but I'm also not joking. There's like a website with like memberships and a talk forum about like orchids and how, and like people pay for this. So you know, there's obviously not like an answer for everyone specifically, except for what are you good at? If I had to put you in front of a room to talk to people about something, it can even be like the best way to like entertain a toddler. You know, like it doesn't matter, right?
Well, I'm glad you used that example too, because I think that especially women, and then like add the extra layer of moms,
Yeah.
undersell their skill sets so much. And so like we rarely give homework, or don't ever give homework when we have interview days, but like I think it's good for all of us to like go home and make a list of like 5 things that we're really, really good at. And if it is entertaining a toddler, like write it down, because like there are things that moms and women are really good at. And we talked about this on a recent episode. And we've talked about this a couple of times, where it's like things that we become good at, we kind of forget that other people aren't good at it.
Yeah.
Because it becomes easy to us. And so we dismiss it as a skill, because it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course I can entertain that toddler because I do it every day. And you forget that like other people would be like, you know, hi, child, what should we do now? Like they don't have that same skill set. And so I think that that is really important. And it's important for, you know, theoretically when moms going back to the workforce, but also like just women in general, to remember that we are so quick to undersell our skill sets and what we're really good at. It is just whether, you know, as you were talking, I was thinking about like, I was taking notes and I'm like, okay, what are the things that I do in my job that I really love? What are the things that I'm really good at? Do they overlap? Like, when don't they overlap? And like, and because they're not always the same. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. And I think it's so easy to forget like the things that I am really good at, because the things that we're really good at are often the things that we enjoy, and are often the things that are come easy to us. And so it's so easy to dismiss them because they're the fun stuff. They're the easy stuff. And it's just like, yeah, of course. Like, oh, that's easy. And then if I were to tell like Riley some of like, because I have a sales job in addition to this, if I were to tell Riley some of the stuff that I do on the sales side that is easy, and she'd be like, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yes. And so like, I think it's just, I just want to emphasize everything that you just said, because I think it's important for all of us, whether you're looking for a job or not, whether you ever want to work outside. It's a good boost to your ego to just like sit down and write like down 5 things that you're good at, because you are good at things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, well, you probably will not be surprised by this, but the majority of women who we work with are so, well, all women are conditioned, right, to like kind of be humble and like don't brag about yourself, and like don't be, and it's like you have to, and it's not easy, but you kind of have to like try to unwire that part of your brain, to, or rewire it rather, that like, and this isn't a direct like slam on men. I think again it's just the way that we're taught and conditioned, um unfortunately, but I don't see that from men. They are like, I'm the best at this, and they have no problem like telling you all the things that they think they're rad at, and so with the women, we work with them, we do the resume, and they're like, oh my God, this doesn't even sound like me. And I'm like, what doesn't sound like you? What part? Did we mess something up? They're like, no, it just sound, and I'm just like, okay, this is all factual things, like this is you. These are your accomplishments. These are, things that you should be super proud of. You are capable. And so it's just interesting to kind of see that difference in, and so like to your point, Tova, I think that's a part of it, right? Like we're just so like, oh, no big deal. I mean, even when we're like accepting an award, we're like, I don't feel like I deserve this. And, like you do, and you are great. And like, we're not perfect. My medicine alarm just went off and I was sure that I like set everything off. So like, but we are good, and we're great at certain things, and we can have accomplishments. And I want women to be comfortable talking about those things, and not only be comfortable, but really be proud of them. Like it's okay. It's okay to be proud of yourself. So there's a lot of hidden talents and accomplishments that they don't realize until someone points them out, quite honestly.
Well, and I know we need to wrap up, and I don't want to interrupt you, Riley, because I know you're about to say something. I was just going to say, this is just a shout out to like, this is why it's great to work with an expert.
Yeah.
It's why we reached out to you and your team for our LinkedIn page and resumes. It's why we reached out to someone to work on our to copyright our website, because it's really hard to write that stuff about yourself. But then when you sit with somebody, then they can write it about you. Like,
I even joke that I outsource my own stuff. I'm a technical writer, and I could write, but I don't. I want to see through the lens of, I want to see what someone else sees. And, it is just better. I mean, I outsource those things as well, and I'm fully capable, but it's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah. And I think it's super affirming to like when we went through the copywriting process for our website and like had individual conversations for our bios and things like that. I was like just telling stories about myself, and the feedback was very affirming. And like we're talking about, in the sense of like, to me, it was normal. Like everything I was saying was normal. And to somebody else, it's like, that is not your average story, right? Like that's fascinating. And this is why. And so to get that feedback, I think is extremely important for us. And as you're saying, Gigi and Tova, like it's culturally, we're conditioned to downplay our skills, right? And to be quiet and to be, I don't know, meek and all those gross words. Which I don't feel like I am, but I do feel like I'm supposed to be, right? And that's the hinge, right? Like that's the part that's problematic. So I love this idea that by working with an expert, by working with somebody who is a third party, it's almost like therapy, right? Without the like therapy aspect. But it to me, it's like talking to somebody about who you are and getting feedback and being like, oh, I am awesome. Like I am pretty great. Like I can do these things. And that's invaluable. We do need to wrap up a little bit. So Tova, I don't know if you want to go ahead and do our quick response questions.
So we love
ahead.
to end the show with bold questions, quick response. So the way it works is I will ask you 5 questions and I can't do follow-ups. I just ask you the question and you just give a quick answer. And that's
okay.
That's
I'll try to be brief.
They're both easy and hard to answer briefly. And they're painful to not ask follow-up questions for. So our first question, what do you do when you first get up in the morning?
Look at my son, and he's usually the one waking me up, poking me in the face. So yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
What is in your purse?
Oh, I just moved like everything to a smaller one. Chapstick.
Who was your teen heartthrob or crush?
Jordan Catalano.
Yeah.
She said, yeah.
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 If you're watching on YouTube, you saw Riley and I do a lot of agreeing, silent agreeing.
We're of the same generation. All
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you ever received?
If you are waiting for perfect information to make a decision, you've almost certainly lost your opportunity.
That's good advice. We haven't had that before. I like
that. I need to put that on a wall somewhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It was a fascinating conversation, affirming a lot of things that I already knew and needed reaffirmation for. So thanks personally from me. Where can people find you if they want to hire you, if they want to know who you are, more about you? Like where are you in the digital world?
So best, easiest way for anything at all is email hello@silverkeync, like North Carolina.com. Although we do help, we've helped globally. So nationally and globally, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our website is silverkeync.com. That's the best ways. We're on Facebook, Silver Key Career Solutions. We're on Instagram, same thing, Silver Key Career Solutions.
Excellent. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, like I said, it was a joy to have you on the show. I appreciate your advice that I've received personally, but also that you're sharing with our audience. I think it's super important for people to hear and understand that, they're not alone in this process, even when it's emotional and scary and overwhelming and all of those big feelings. So thank you for being here with us today.
I'm honored. Thank you.
I know I said it at the beginning of the show, but just as a reminder, this is our last episode of season 10. So how-tos have been wrapped up for now. And we will be back next week with a brand new mini season. So stick with us, stay tuned, and we will see you all in a week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much for listening to We Go Boldly podcast. We know you're busy and we love spending time with you.
If you enjoyed this week's episode, let us know. Head to Apple Podcasts right now to rate and review our show. While you're there, be sure to click that subscribe button.
Want more us time? Follow us on all the socials at Go Boldly Together.
Want even more us time? As in all the coaching pizzazz. Find us at goboldlyinitiative.com for all the info.
We will be back with more excitement, research, and deep thoughts next week.
Until then, keep on being the bold, brave, amazing people we know you already are.
The Power Moms Network, empowering moms to lift the world.